Thank you, John.
All right, everybody is in their places. Emma's already got things started. We ready to rock and roll? All right, let's go. All right, we're going to go ahead and open our meeting. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Councilman Box, if you would be so kind.
I'll be glad. If you'll join me, please. Father God, I just want to thank you for this day. Lord, I thank you that last time I came before you to pray, that maybe my words were misunderstood. So I'm asking you to speak through me tonight when I pray, Lord. I thank you, Lord, that we can bless those that curse us. We can do good to those that despitefully use us. We can believe the best about our brothers and sisters. Lord, that we can have wisdom to run your city. And where we have difference of opinion, we'll have patience and kindness until we work out the best answer that I know you already have and you have planned for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Councilman Box. We'll go ahead and call to order. Roll call. Let the minutes list that Councilman London is absent. Councilwoman Cuellar,
Here.
Councilman Box, Councilman Sims here, and myself present as well. Thank you all for that. First item on the docket would be the approval of the minutes from the December 3rd, 2024 regular city council meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes from the December 23rd, 2024 meeting.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
No abstentions, no no's. Okay. Next item would be an approval of the bills. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Just have a few handouts to give. Well, I would like to note that our city clerk did respond to the questions that were outstanding from the last time, and I appreciate her getting us responses on that.
Thank you. And your mic might not be on, Councilwoman Cuellar, if we could check. Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Lee. Any comments, or are these acceptable for us to read through?
You can read through them. There are just a few of them. There's 3 of them this time.
Okay.
And if I could just get, I do make some comments and on some of them, for instance, and I've never been one to name names or anything like that, but we did have some charges for valet services, $75 and $60 and $60, and this is the reason that we are have a business travel plan on our agenda this time to keep these occurrences from reoccurring.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
That being said, do we have a motion?
Make a motion that we pay the bills in the amount of $953,954.83.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. Now we come to the mayor's report. Mayor, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, one thing I would like to add, based on the report that you just received from Councilwoman Cuellar, sometimes when you travel, depending on where you're going, especially if you're in a big city, you don't have any choice but the valet park. I think we need to ask the questions and get the context, the proper context of why people are doing what they're doing instead of assuming that they are doing something that is illegal. Now I will proceed with my mayor's report. How's everybody doing tonight? We got a great crowd out there, and I'm not going to belabor the hour. First of all, I would like to thank Jefferson County for paving Grantswood Road as well as Carl Daly Road. They paved both of those roads, and the city didn't have to pay anything for that. I would like to thank Commissioner Joe Knight, Commissioner Mike Boland, Heather Carter, who is now the deputy city manager or the county manager, as well as Chris Nicholson, who is over roads and transportation. It grieves my heart to be able to share this next comment that I'm going to make, but I want to let everybody know today that Sean Littleton, who works in our public works department, was found dead at home on yesterday. Sean has been with the city for over 10 years. He worked in building maintenance, was responsible for keeping all of the buildings clean. And we found out today at 1 o'clock that he was found dead. So it saddens the city. It basically kind of took the air out of the meeting. I didn't want to come to the city council meeting because Sean was just a good guy. But I knew that he would want me to continue to move the city forward and to be able to keep it coming and proceeding with what we needed to do tonight. So I ask that you all keep his family in your prayers, and we will also keep you updated on the arrangements. In November, right before Thanksgiving, we had a very successful turkey giveaway. We gave over 200 turkeys in 45 minutes. Cars were all the way to simply 10. You know, one of the things that really gave me a great pleasure that when people were coming through the line, they wanted to give me their driver's license to verify if they lived in the city of Irondale. But I told them, we don't roll that way in the city of Irondale. We don't ask you for an application. We don't care where you stay, because if you get in that line and wait that long, 2 to 3 hours, then apparently you must need it. So that was great to be able to give away those turkeys and not to be able to police people as they were coming through to make sure that they were citizens of Irondale. Also, the Christmas parade was great. If you got a chance to be a part of that, it was real cold, but we had over 42 entries. One of our consistent winners was Jared in the water department, so he received a three-peat this year. I'm quite sure that he's very happy about that, but we also gave out several awards. I want to give a shout out to Publix. They've provided hot chocolate to over 900 individuals that night, so it was very successful. We had a real good time, and we're looking forward to moving forward and doing it on next year. On the 21st, this weekend, we'll be giving away Christmas hams. Again, we'll be giving away 200 hams in front of City Hall, and we will be doing that until supplies last. I want to mention something about garbage and recycling. Maybe a few months ago, we shared with everybody to say, hey, we need you to follow the rules. Probably one of the most dumbest questions that I've heard so far. If I pay $29 a month, why do I have to follow the rules? Well, you got to follow the rules because you have rules. And we're going to make you follow them, or your garbage is going to be sitting out in front of your house until you finally decide that you're going to be able to do the right thing. We don't ask you to do a lot. Please, please do not fill your can to the brim and put the little gray bags on top of it, because the cans are only supposed to hold 95 gallons. Is it 95-gallon cans, right?
I think so.
And when you exceed that, it makes it very difficult for the people that work on the back of the truck. There are people on the back of the truck that has to dump the stuff. We ask you that, would you please follow the rules? Please put your stuff in the bag. Please do not put it by the side of the trash can. If you want to put it by the side of the trash can, we will give you another trash can. Well, let me rephrase that. You can pay for another trash can. $75 for the deposit, and we charge an additional $10 to be able to pick it up. But if you don't do it for anybody else, do it for the people that's on the back of the truck. Secondly, we've told you about recycling. Please tear the boxes up. Don't put them under the can. Don't put them next to the can. When the guys pick up on Monday, they have no clue if it rained Monday night or if it did not rain Monday night. And we ask you to do this so that we will not be submitting contaminated materials to the recycling center. If you could do that for me during the holiday season, we would really appreciate that. Close the lid on everything. Close the lid on your garbage can. Close the lid on your recycling can. Do not put recycling close to the can. If you can't tear it up, save it. We'll get it the next week. But if you all could do that, it would be very helpful because these guys have a very hard job. And I'm quite sure our public works director says that we have the calls down to now about 20 calls. We receive 20 calls every week to complain about pickup. I think that's very good when you have to go to 4,000 houses. And if you do the math on that, that's probably less than 1%. They do an excellent job. I'm tired of seeing you all complain on Facebook about the garbage service and what we're doing here at the city. So I have a right to be able to speak out, to be able to defend the people that we employ here at the city. They're doing a very good job. And if you want better service, if you want us to charge you more than $29 a month, we can be able to do that. If you all want us to, you love to compare us to Mountain Brook. If you want us to go up on your property tax by 40 mills, we can do that too. I'm just letting you know, we provide you a service that you cannot receive in another place. I wish that you would keep your complaints to yourself. And if you do have complaints, please call Mr. Frank Pennington. His phone number is 205-951-1420. And he's used to dealing with them. And now I'm going to jump off my soapbox and get back to the rest of my report. Santa is coming through your neighborhood. I had a chance to be able to ride on last night. We went through the north side, south side, Roebuck Plaza, Eastwood Park, and we also went to Hunters Ridge and Colonial apartment. So we did that on last night. And tonight they're in Old Leeds, Belmont, Carl Daly. December the 18th, they'll be in Grants Mill, Stone Ridge, Holiday Gardens. On December the 19th, they'll be in the Irondale Mobile Home Park, Eastwood Mobile Home Park, Amber Hills, and Rock Ridge. Please listen for the sirens. They should be coming to your neighborhood sometime soon. Also, does everybody out here have a garbage schedule for the holiday season? Do anybody care about the garbage schedule for the holiday season? Okay, well, here it goes. December the 23rd, we'll be picking up recycling. December the 24th and 25th, we're closed. On December the 26th, if your garbage pickup is Tuesday, we'll pick it up on the 26th. If your garbage pickup is on Wednesday, we'll pick it up on December the 27th. Anybody got any questions about the first part for Christmas? All right, for New Year's, December the 30th, we'll pick up recycling on that Monday. December the 31st and January the 1st, we're closed. Tuesday garbage pickup is on January the 2nd. And Wednesday, if they pick up your garbage, is going to be on January 23rd. You can find this on the city website. You can find this on the city app. Where else can they find it, Frank? Call Frank. 205-951-1420. Frank will make sure that everything gets picked up. Frank is a wonderful employee, and I'm glad that we have him here at the city. Also, I wanted to talk about the Arts and Crafts Bazaar that was given at the Civic Center on November 23rd and 24th. There were only over 90 vendors that have participated in this event. It was a steady flow of individuals that came to the Civic Center throughout that event. That was the first time that we had did that in the city of Irondale. I would like to thank Miss Mary Shera. She actually provided me with a bow tie bookmarker from the event. So I wanted to thank her for that. But I know that there are a lot of citizens, people really enjoyed it, had a good time. We won't be able to have it there next year because the Civic Center will be under renovations, but we're looking for another facility to be able to keep that momentum going and to be able to do that for another year. So I've covered Santa Claus, garbage, hams. Oh, also, if you would like to make a donation for a ham, we'll be willing to take those as well. And the last thing was we had coffee with the mayor today at Starbucks. And to be honest with you, I didn't think that we were going to have a lot of people to show up. I said, no, we'll probably have 5, 10 people to show up. But we had over 40 people to show up. We basically packed Starbucks out. I had an opportunity to be able to share with people in the community. It was a perfect place for people who like to talk negatively about the city. They always want to hear the mayor talk about what's going on in the city. What a better place to be able to come to Starbucks, get you some coffee, and ask the mayor all the challenging questions that you would like to ask him. But again, I was amazed because those negative people didn't show up. Only the positive people showed up. So we had a great time, but I will be having another event for the negative people. I'm going to make sure that you have a wonderful, I'll be there. I want to be sure that you all get your answers, your questions answered. And because I don't look at Facebook. So if you want to speak to me, I'll never speak to you on Facebook. So you can hang it up. But I would love to be able to speak with you in person as we move forward into 2025. That closes this out, Council President. But then we have some things that we want to award pretty quickly.
Okay.
One morning I was at home and I was working out. I was looking at the news and I saw where St. Vincent's was doing a sock drive. And I said to myself, I believe that the city of Irondale can do that we can really kind of join in to be able to make a difference during the holiday season. Because probably there's nobody in this room that ever been homeless. But if you've been homeless, you'll know that having socks is very important because sometimes they don't have shoes to be able to put on their feet. My son did something similar when he was at Shays Valley High School, and he was able to raise over $1,300. And he tried to make fun of me, that thinking that his daddy was not going to be able to pass him. But the lovely people in the city of Irondale did such a great job. I set a goal of 1,000, and the city of Irondale showed out, turned up, and we ended up with 3,780 socks today that we're going to give to the Salvation Army to be able to make life better for someone else. And at the end of the day, that's what it's really all about. God has blessed everybody in this room immensely. We have a responsibility to be able to give back and make a difference. For the Bible says, am I my brother's keeper? Of course I am. When you hurt, I hurt. But at the city of Irondale, we're trying to do our best to be able to minimize that pain for everybody else. Therefore, if Miss Burt from the Salvation Army, if you would come forward and we would like to, if you would like to say a few words, you can. And you also can also take the socks with you tonight.
How y'all doing? I'm Sonia Bird. I'm the General Supervisor at the Salvation Army. And I would like to thank the City of Irondale for this donation of socks.
And also, I wanted to say that the city of Irondale participated or worked with Heidi Kids as well. And Heidi Kids gave away over 477 sets of toys and food and all of that on yesterday. So we're really doing our part to be able to pour into the community and to be able to work with others to be able to make a difference in this world. My second thing is more of a fun time, but we had a. Oh, I'm sorry. Vanna says that I has to come to the board over here. But I'm gonna go ahead. Well, do you want to do it, Emma? Because you know my voice won't allow me to do it. So if you click the board, I'll talk. You click the board. We'll do this as a team. But for the last 3 years, we've asked people to decorate their homes, and we have judges that ride around during the community somewhere between December the 9th and December the 15th to be able to identify what those wonderful homes look like. And tonight we have not only trophies for them, but we have some gift certificates from Golden Rule and Marty's to go along with it. And you also get a very nice trophy and a sign that we would like for you to go home and put in your yard to let people know that the city of Irondale has presented you with having some of the best decorations in the city. So our first individual, Vanna, is... That's why I didn't want to do it, because that board don't act right all the time. And I didn't want you all laughing at me. So the first person we have is Miss Kim McDaniel, and she lives off of Rock Ridge Road. Kim, since you're the first one, you can get a trophy. That's this. All right. You get a sign. And you get to choose what award that you want over there. And now we get a picture. And you gonna take a picture now? Or you...
Good job, Kim.
Not bragging on her or anything, but this is her 3rd year in a row. She wanted the Golden Rule more than anything. She's like the trophy, and that's...
Y'all please come so I can tell you that someone saw my decoration.
Okay. Okay. Number 2 is Miss Cora Holtbrooks. Miss Holtbrooks is 86 years old. And today is her birthday. Therefore, I need everybody to say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Miss Holtbrooks. Happy birthday to you. You're getting young. You have gray hair. Now, I'm going to let you say something. You get it right. Whatever you want to say. You say it. Just
Thank you.
Dorothy. Brooks, do you want Golden Rule or Marty's? All right. Okay. All right, our next individual is today John Menaharis. John Menaharis. And John lives on Grants Lane. If you're going up Grants Mill Road, swing a left into the first subdivision there. House is on the corner. It looks fantastic, John. Is there a few things, anything you want to say?
I just want to say, folks, I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And the whole reason why I went out and decorated my house real nicely is to try and bring a Christmas spirit back to the neighborhood, to get people just to have a just forget all the troubles, and that we need the spirit of Christmas.
Thank you, John.
I know that this take up time during the city council meeting, but I'd rather do this than argue about resolutions and ordinances any day. John, you can choose one of your golden rule.
Congratulations, John.
You got some?
You're doing a fine job of keeping people off the naughty list.
What's that, Santa?
I said you're doing a fine job of keeping
I appreciate
people off
it.
the naughty list.
All right, our next winner is Jose Agling Angeles. My wife said I didn't pass phonics, so you all work with me. God ain't through with me yet. So, Jose, if you're here, if you would come. Jose.
Toda la familia.
Okay, if you get off of
Toda la familia.
get off on 20 and you want to take the back way to City Hall, John's house is right there on the corner. It is well lit up. It's beautiful. You need to drive by to go see it. John, anybody want to say anything from the family? Or just
I'd like to add that they decorate for every holiday.
they do. Thanksgiving, Halloween. I mean, you name it. That house on the corner is always well lit. We just thank you all for doing such a wonderful job and celebrating the holidays.
Yes.
Who gets the trophy? The little bit gets the trophy. Who gets the golden rule? Who wants the barbecue? Who wants to sign? I'll just say it. Next up is the Lindsay family on Crowley Drive.
Well, I just want to say Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
And next year, y'all can look forward to it being even better.
Awesome.
See how you can get people to come out to city council meeting? Everybody likes to be appreciated. You are also free to go after you get your award.
It's on the different house, Emma. It's moved.
Thanks, Paul, for staying.
Savior in our day.
Spiritual technical difficulties.
That's why I love playing around. Okay, our next winner is Ashley and Adam Powell at Belmont Place. I pass by you all's house every night going home. You did a fantastic job. We stay in Old Overton Trail down at the bottom of the hill. Is there anything that you all want to say? It's very professionally done.
I was on the roof doing that, and luckily I didn't fall off. So that's good.
Well, next year, if you come over to 4030 Nicole Drive,
Okay.
I'll make sure that I have a place for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Ashley and Adam.
Yeah.
The wires for your yard signs is right behind Officer Capel, back there under the black table. He and Madison are standing there. Show them to him, Officer Capel, Madison. Okay, there go your yard signs. All right, this is to the Hutchison family on Dixieland Road.
Just Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Last but not least, the Irondale Fire Department. Who's coming up for the fire department? When I rode with them last night. Battalion Chief Anderton, Bert asked me, "Did we win anything for the fire department?" I said, I told him, I said, "Well, no, you all didn't get anything." I said, "Matter of fact, you all didn't have your lights on when they came by to do the judging. That was his fault." So go by fire station number 1. They really did a great job, and they will close out our winners for 2024. He always hugs. All right, this concludes my report. And if you were here just to get your award, if you want to go ahead and vacate the room at this time, you can. If you want to hang around for the city council meeting, you can. But I want to give you that opportunity. If you don't leave now, the doors will shut and you can't get out until after the meeting's over. All right, you all have a good night. Council President, this ends my report, and we'll give them an opportunity to be able to exit the room. Thank you so much for you all giving me the amount of time to celebrate the individuals that did a lot during the Christmas season. I don't care what people say. Everybody likes to be celebrated and everybody likes to be appreciated. This is our way of just saying thank you to the citizens in Irondale.
All right. We'll go ahead and get into our council reports. Thank you very much, Mayor, for your report and the recognition as well. I know I drove around the neighborhoods a little bit and kind of checked things out. My girls enjoy seeing the lights, so there's probably a few houses I'll have to put on my list to check out. So we'll go ahead and get into our council member reports. Councilwoman Cuellar, if you please.
Yes. Good evening, and thank you for everyone who is remaining here to attend our council meeting. I did want to make a comment on the garbage. I'm wondering, there are 2 times, I think, when I'm personally speaking, I get more calls during 2 times in the city, and that is during Thanksgiving and Christmas. You know, that's when families come over. There's a lot of garbage. A 95 gallon can usually isn't enough. Typically, these families, they're fine throughout the rest of the year. It's just Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I'm wondering if we could extend a hand of charity on these 2 days. For instance, if they have another can that's got a lid, could we not make an exception on these 2 days so that they could put all their trash out? Maybe it's something that we should ask our Public Works Department, because they're the ones that are doing it. They do a great job throughout the year. And this is the only 2 times when I think it would help families. And this way we would probably avoid some of these problems that typically occur after a Thanksgiving or a Christmas holiday. So I just would like us to consider that, to make an exception just after these 2 holidays, no other holidays, but those 2, because I think most of us can agree that that's when families do come to be with their loved ones. Something to think about. The second thing is we have the screens throughout City Hall. We've got 3 screens, and I'm just wondering, is there a way that we can have these screens up? We weren't able to see the decorations because we want our visitors, our residents who are here attending, to see them, but I would have liked to have seen all of those. So I'm wondering if we've got these 3 screens, why can't we get those going as well? Just if we can do that in the future, that would be great. I'd like to thank Emma Tolbert and our Public Works Director, Frank Pennington, for the work that they did with our Public Works 2024 holiday pickup schedule. This provides our community with a schedule to have as reference for recycling and garbage pickup during the holidays. And that really meant a lot to see that schedule out there. Residents certainly will love seeing that. So thank Emma and Frank for the work that you did putting this schedule together. I'd also like to thank our fire department for continuing the traditional Santa Claus is riding through Irondale on a fire engine truck. Many children, both young and old, look forward to your efforts in making sure that Santa does not forget to ride through Irondale. So thank you for continuing this tradition. I asked also the mayor announced the dates They're also, as he stated, on the city's Facebook page. I also put that on the District 3 page. Council members, if you put it on your personal pages too, I think that's a great way to get the word out to our residents so they have a calendar and a schedule to know what the pickup is going to be. So thank you, Mr. Pennington and Ms. Tolbert, for doing this. Also like to mention two nonprofit Irondale organizations. I wasn't aware that Heidi's Kids was finished. At least that's the impression I got with getting the Christmas presents, the toys and everything out. If not, I do have they're located at 3300 Crestwood Boulevard, Suite 101. And the email is easy to follow, Heidi's Kids 7@gmail.com. I don't know if she still needs some help, but if you can help, you've got some time, give them a holler. Also, the Irondale Exchange Club, another great nonprofit organization here in Irondale, is accepting donations, still accepting for toys, dry and canned food, and cash to purchase items. You can contact them at 205-317-0168 or email them at exchangeclubofirondale@gmail.com. And finally, I'd like to wish everyone here a very blessed Christmas and New Year and safe travels throughout this holiday season. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cuellar. Councilman Box?
Thank you, Council President. I would say that a couple of my neighborhoods have reached out directly to Mr. Pennington on those excessive days, and they're very cooperative to do the extra. The mayor's right. We need to go by the rules on the regular time, but there are days for exceptions. So, and right now, for the most part, the guys are more than willing to make those exceptions on a case-by-case basis. With that said, it was awesome to see what happened at the Irondale Arts Council that happened lately. I got several other things I need to say, but because we are running a little bit behind, I'll just go ahead and relinquish and pass it on to you, Council President.
All right, Councilman Box. Councilman Sims?
Welcome, everybody. Thank you to everyone who worked on putting together the Christmas parade and everyone who took part. It was great, again, as always. Congratulations to everyone who were just recognized for their amazing decorations. I drive by the fire station 6 to 10 times a day, and it's great seeing all that stuff lit up at the fire station. And also, I'm glad that we finally had someone in Holiday Gardens recognized for their lights this year. Speaking of Holiday Gardens, we had our, annual Christmas dinner last Tuesday, and thank you anyone who came to that. And anyone who lives in Holiday Gardens, please come out second Tuesday of every month at the Senior Activity Center and join us. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. As far as my report, I'll keep it brief as well. Just thank you for anybody that had a hand in the parade, whether you're in it or helped or organize it. It was it's always super fun. I want to thank Chief McDaniel and the operator for letting me, my wife, and my girls ride in the fire engine. So if you got pegged by a double bubble from the fire truck that had Santa on it, then I apologize. They were pretty excited. So there was probably a little extra heat there. But awesome tradition, love it. That's one of the reasons I love being here. And then another awesome tradition is the Santa coming through the neighborhoods and everything. Listen for the sirens, got the girls out on the corner and everything like that, and they came right by the house. So that's such a fantastic tradition, and just another reason that I love living in this town. That'll conclude my report for the evening. Thank you very much, and hope your Christmas and your New Year's is everything you need it to be. All right, going into our next item. So we obviously have an agenda in front of us. This is going to be public comments to the council on non-agenda items. So if it's on this piece of paper, this is not what we're talking about right now. So does anybody have any comments to the council on non-agenda items? Yes, ma'am. Do you want me to rearrange that podium for you? You got it? Okay.
A couple days ago.
Thank you.
We've had a lot of fun, but it's time to go back to work. What I have passed around is the Irondale School Report Card that is published on the state's website. And I have listed the website on there. And it's kind of a shock, and it's kind of hard to find these figures on those reports. But Irondale schools are not doing well. And this is not a boo-hoo, let's, be no. What we need to do probably is to find ways to help our schools and to support our schools as the parents and as the community to get involved in our schools, maybe make a committee that looks in more depth at what does this mean? Shade Valley highest score of math, English, and science was 33.89. 33. Irondale Middle School, highest score, 31. But its lowest score was in math at 4.47. Irondale Community School, highest score, English, 45.31. Math, 10.84. Grantswood, 56.83. Grantswood overall is doing a little better than the other schools. But even the baccalaureate school, where students are chosen based on their academic abilities, their lowest score was math at 65.12. My kids attended the Trustful schools until my daughter transferred over to the baccalaureate school. And it was the graduation year, that the baccalaureate school was the highest SAT scores in the nation. So we are slipping. There's issues about absenteeisms and also on economic disadvantages. So I'm not going to take any more time, but I am imploring us to get together as a community so that we can help our students. This helps with our homes, with our sales, and with our ability to employ the people that live here. So we need to bring up our students' scores and make
Thank
sure
you,
that
ma'am.
our parents
If
are
we could
involved.
get your name and address. Okay, you got it?
Mary
Okay, cool.
Scherer,
Thank you.
5276 Amber Hills Road.
Thank you. Any other comments to the council on non-agenda items? Yes, ma'am.
Judy Wilson, 3510 Belmont Road. I have three things to mention. As the Bible says, I'm advanced in age, so I have to try to remember the best I can. So the first thing, Doug and I, my husband and I happened to go in Home Depot today, and they were giving these free water tests out. They're free, and you can follow directions, whatever, and send it in, because I know we have questions about our water, not only in Irondale, but in the communities surrounding Irondale also. So if you care to get one, they give one per person, free. The second thing is, the mayor talked about following the rules, and I wholeheartedly agree. That's why we have lawmakers. They make the laws, and for the good of our communities and our homes and our families, we should follow the rules. And as he said, it's good for me and for everybody, okay? The third thing is, we don't walk around with a P for protest or for a, what would the other one be? A for us ascending to, or whatever, agreeing to everything. So we can't all go to every meeting or every coffee clutch or every parade, but we're interested in, because it is our city and our community. So some of us have to work. Some of us are old and just don't get out too much at night. So just remember that even though we're not here all the time, our councilmen are elected and paid to attend these council meetings. So I expect to see them here and to perform their job. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other? Yes, ma'am.
5209 Cornell Drive. Looking at these test scores, yes, there's a lot of improvement that can be done. But one thing we need to do is encourage not only our students, but the teachers and administrators. So let's not go in negative Nancy when we go in and speak with the administrators, let's first say congratulations, because as you see, all of them improved. One went down, but all the schools improved. And I've told you before, I'm a former administrator. It's not an easy job. And if you go into these schools now and you see what some of these teachers are dealing with, you realize it's not getting any easier. So they need your help, but they also need your encouragement.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments on non-agenda items? Yes, ma'am.
Wasn't planning on speaking, but everybody knows that I can't keep my mouth shut. Kim McDaniel, 4025 Rock Ridge Road, and I would just like to say I really appreciate those words that you said, and I have noticed that our mayor and city council have shown a lot of support to our schools in this last year or so, and even before that, and I really appreciate that, and I appreciate how y'all, what you've done with the teachers. I think there's been some recognition and some money to their classrooms, and so thank you for recognizing and encouraging our schools so that we can get to where we want to be. And I know that there's probably a lot, there's probably things that we can still do, but thank you for the things that you have done and the money that you put into our schools that make a big difference. And I know those teachers have to appreciate it because they are the ones on the front line every day. And then I just wanted to mention about the water. It's just not a good coincidence that a family member of mine had a cancer that, could be caused by PFAS, which is, part of this water situation. So I did a lot of research, and I just want to say too, how much I appreciate the water department and our mayor and council that they've addressed our issues. I mean, the EPA has known about these problems for years and years. If you read about the military sites, they still haven't been cleaned up. They are called super sites. And it was identified years and years ago. But when our issues were identified, our city stepped up, and they're doing what it takes to get us the water that we need to have. But the good thing is, and as I've looked at all this, based on my past experience with researching it, is that we're in pretty good shape here compared to many, many, many other communities, and especially those around military bases. And so, and then of course, lastly, I have to, two things. That's what I always tell James. I have one more thing to say, and he says, "How many more is that really going to be?" So, or Mayor Stewart, I'm sorry. But anyway,
Put a bow on it, Miss Kim.
Huh?
Put a bow on it. Yeah, you're done. Quickly.
Thanks, Public Works and the fire department.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments on non-agenda items?
I'm Kimberly Miles Stewart in 4030 Nicole Drive. And like Miss Lewis, an educator, I'm a special education teacher, and I want to speak directly to the scores. Oftentimes, we continue to hear the negative side, but when I talk with the principals, they have not had any of the people who are in the community with negative information to come in and volunteer, do intervention groups, read, do any kind of tutoring. So I say, put your money and your time where your mouth is, because it's easy to criticize, but give of your time to help these children instead of coming with reports to say it's this. We know the situation. The principals have come here. They've talked about the progress that has been made. So let's not stop, continue to find negative things to, why would you belittle your community? I'm kind of lost with that. But I think we should be more positive, and as I stated, give of our time instead of doing research to reveal something negative. You can always do that. Thank you.
Any other comments on non-agenda items? All right, we are moving on. All right, we're going to go ahead and move into any reports of any boards or non-council committees. Any boards? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is John Schoen. I'm representing several different the Exchange Club being one of them. We started the Exchange Club about 38 years ago, and we've done Christmas in Irondale for about 37 years. And I'd like to thank all those folks who have helped us in the past and that have helped us this year in presenting clothing, food, toys, and a meal for Christmas to those that are recommended to us. We don't have the opportunity necessarily to find everyone, and so we rely on people to refer folks to us. And it's strictly private. There's no publishing of any of the names or anything like this involved in our program. This year, we're looking for, particularly for folks that are home alone. We've got some folks here in Irondale that I haven't been able to reach. I know that some of the police and fire folks may be aware of them. I have a form that I'd like for you to partially complete so we can reach these people. We will be distributing everything on Sunday and Saturday and Monday this coming week. So, and we're accepting donations and checks whenever you feel so inclined. Our councilman mentioned the addresses and numbers, but I've got all kinds of other things. This is the kind of a sheet we just like to have so we can find out how to contact these folks. So I have them, or you can call me at 205-317-0168. Also, I'd like to compliment our Arts Council. They have done a heck of a job. They had a showing this last Friday and Saturday, and I guess there were about 10, maybe 15 artists that were presenting their goods for sale, and quite a bit of money was raised for it, and thank those that participated. Also, I'd like to ask how the Exchange Club could maybe help in developing some of the lighting up and down I-20. Can we write to the power company, because they're the ones that are holding up the stick, are they not, Mayor?
How can the Exchange Club help the
A
process?
letter campaign, something.
No, we don't need a letter campaign. The problem that we have now, the state had someone to be able to do the work, to provide all the wiring, to be able to put the lights in. Once they went back and reviewed what was done, they did not do everything correctly. The state is now having their inspectors to verify what the problem is with the wiring. As soon as all of the poles have the proper wiring, then Alabama Power, who we've already contracted with, will then be able to do their work. But they can't do their work now because all of the poles do not have the proper power going to them at the present time. So it's not an Alabama Power issue. It's more of an ALDOT issue. And Frank and I have already dealt with this issue.
This is a state issue, you say then?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, it kind of pains me to see surrounding cities getting all the lights and we're still in the dark. Anyway.
Well, I would like to correct you about that, because there are no surrounding cities that have any lights, because the city of Irondale is the only one that had an agreement with ALDOT and Alabama Power to be able to install lights. Now, if you can tell me where those communities are, I really would appreciate it.
Mayor. I'm asking what we
Let's
can do.
keep
If you
this
tell me I
to-
can't do anything, I won't.
No, you just said
Let's
that.
keep this, Mayor.
Okay,
Mr.
I'll get out
Schoen,
of it.
Yes, sir.
If we can keep this to a board or non-council committee report.
I appreciate very much what the city has helped us out here in Irondale. We've done a lot in Irondale. We are going to continue to do a lot in Irondale, and look forward to hearing from anybody that wants to talk to me. Oh, one other time. I did approach several people about tutoring in the schools, and it's not easy. You have to go through you have to be tested and everything else by the city or by the Jefferson County, and there's a fee of $25 or $30 involved. So you need to talk to the principals. They can support you somewhat, but I think primarily you would need to talk to the Jefferson County Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other reports from any boards or non-council committees? All right, we're moving on. We're going to go ahead and enter into the deliberation phase of the agenda. All right. Item number 1, resolve the resolution 2024 R212 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute a lease with an Irondale police officer in the amount of $90 per month and other amounts noted therein for a certified police narcotics and tracking canine officer by the Irondale Police Department. Mayor, I believe this is a second dog. Would you like to make some introductions?
Yes, I want to give a disclaimer before we get into the resolutions that we have for the police department, because there are about 8 or 9 of them that are on there. I'm the sponsor for these resolutions that we have on the agenda, but I'm not going to take credit for everything that we have on here. I actually asked them to be creative and submit to me solutions for items that they needed in the police department that will really make a difference and make an impact. So those individuals that you see out there, they're the ones that submitted the proposals. I'm only being the sponsor for what they creative minds decided. So I did want to make sure, because my name is by a lot of stuff, so no, I'm not that bright to be able to figure all of this stuff out, but it's the great men and women that we have that work in the police department. They came up with these ideas. And the first one is that they want to add a second dog because we're working Lima to death. So Officer Adair came up with a proposal to be able to add another K9 to be able to give Lima a break. Matter of fact, he has the K9 back there with him tonight if you all want to be able to see it. But that's why we do what we do in the city of Irondale, because we want to make sure that our officers have everything that they need to be able to protect the public.
Beautiful.
I don't know how you all could vote against that beautiful face right there, but there may be someone that don't see fit. I'm talking about, I'm sorry. I wasn't talking about Adair. I'm sorry, Adair. I was talking about the dog. But will be our second dog. And the dog's doing a lot of work, especially when you go into the schools. I mean, I went to the schools with the dog. Dog got 20 pictures. I got 1. So the kids love it. A great public relations piece. And we need a second dog here in the city to help us to continue to do the great work that they're doing in the police department.
Fantastic. Councilwoman Cuellar, any questions on this particular item?
No, the only comments I was going to ask, I asked our city attorney and she did clarify that it was 2. Certainly understand the need for a second one. I-20 is a very, very busy corridor. So I am glad to hear that you're getting a second one.
Councilman Box?
No, all my questions were answered. Thank you.
Councilman Sims?
What is the name? Callie. No questions. Thank you so much.
All right. And thank you for your presence this evening. Thrilled to have a second dog. We agree to leave this on consent?
Yes.
All right. Item number 2, resolved that resolution 2024 R213 authorizes the expenditure of up to $225,000 for the purchase of safety equipment and other safety devices for the Irondale Police Department. Let's see here. I know that's a that number there. It is allocated to general fund and surplus. I know we're probably not going to go into the various equipment that we're discussing, but Mayor, is there anything high level you want to say about that?
Thank you, Council President. We can't go into details about all of this because this is to protect their safety. I will talk about the amount that we're setting aside, which is $225,000 over $4,500 per officer to allow them to be able to purchase their pistol and to be able to purchase their rifle. One of the things that I found out when I had a chance to be able to sit down with officers and to be able to interview them, I didn't know that they had to buy their own equipment. I didn't know that they had to buy their own guns and their own rifles. And what I said to them, it was kind of insane to me, asinine, because that's like asking me when I came in to be the mayor, oh, Mayor, we don't have a computer and a display screen for you, so you got to buy your own computer and your own monitor to be able to sit down and do the work. We have 40 officers now. We're looking to add about 5 additional officers. Part of this will be coming through Jefferson County that has asked the city to have a resource officer in every school that's an Irondale officer. They also plan on supplementing that cost. So when those officers are not in the schools, we'll be able to put them on the streets. But this is just to provide them with standardized weapons. Everybody have the same thing, trained with the same thing. And it also helps when there are other legal things that kind of pop up with dealing with the firearms.
Understood. Councilwoman Cuellar, any questions?
Yeah, and just the 2 questions. Is this a budgeted amount that we've got?
there's a funding source for it,
Very good. What's our funding source?
general fund.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions.
Councilman Box?
No, I'm good. Having some personal experience with a son that's an officer, I know how expensive equipment can be to try to keep our officers safe.
Understood. Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And I appreciate whoever, I don't know whose idea this
It was Officer Adair.
Fantastic. I know from the work I do in my third job, you have to turn around, something happens, you got to pick up someone else's equipment. The last thing you don't want to do is put yourself in a dangerous situation because you can't operate that equipment efficiently and correctly. So I think this is a fantastic thing, and kudos for coming up with this. Do we agree to leave this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Item number 3, resolve that resolution 2024 R214 increases the amount of military leave hours from 168 hours to 408 hours and authorizes the submission of the resolution to the Personnel Board of Jefferson County. Mayor?
This amount, I know it looks like a big jump when you see it goes from 168 to 408. However, this 168 has been in effect for probably 25 to 30 years. And the officers that are in the reserve, when they go on the weekend, they now work 12-hour shifts versus 8 when this was used to calculate that amount, which means that if they go for 12 months, 2 weekends each month, that's 288 hours. And then they also have to do 2 weeks of drill. So that's an additional 80 hours. So that brings us to 368. And I just recommended an additional 40 for when some of them are called up and they have to go and to be able to do extra things with their unit. They don't have to worry about if they're still in the pay status here at the city and go serve our country at the same time. So if we really love our country the way that we say that we love it, then I say we need to put our money where our mouth is.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions. I appreciate the explanation, Mayor Stewart.
Councilman Box?
No questions. All mine were answered.
Councilman Sims?
I know we have a couple of police officers that are reservists. Do you have a total number of city employees that are
4.
reservists? 4?
We
Awesome.
have 2 in the police department. We have 1 in public works, and we have 1 in the fire department.
Outstanding. Thank you.
And thank you very much for that explanation. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And this was brought to you by Officer Urista and Officer Shell.
Nicely done. Item number 4, resolve that resolution 2024 R215 authorizes the creation of a physical fitness program for police department and fire department personnel and authorizes a compensation increase of 3% annually for those police and fire department personnel that satisfy the requirements of the physical fitness program. Mayor?
Trying to keep the fire department out of being in the bed all day and keeping the police officers from visiting Starbucks and the donut shops in the community. But no, that's just a joke. But I can't remember who created this one right here. But the thing is really to make sure that our officers stay in shape. Their fitness test will be similar to when you become hired as an officer annually. You'd have to pass the same fitness test. I know the fire department is going to make some adjustments to theirs, but it'll still be similar to what a fireman has to do when they qualify to become a fireman. And they will have to renew this every year. And if they pass the physical fitness test, then they will receive a 3% premium until the next year come around for them to requalify.
Okay. Healthy workers take less time off, right?
Exactly.
There you go. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, I have some comments I'd like to make on this one, if you'll take one and pass it around. This is a program that I thought is really, really good. I'm very, very supportive of fitness testing for all of our first responders. And because I'm very supportive of it, I am aware as a council member, when I go to visit other, we get together for the convention for council members and mayors. The city of Calera has invested in a fitness program for their first responders. It is excellent. I spoke with Chief David Heitch. He was appointed 4.5 years ago in Calera. And what they decided to do, because they had been discussing this for many, many years, what they decided to do is let's invest in perpetuity here. This is a program that we need to have for our officers. And what they did is they have a building that they have, it's 1,100 square feet for their first responders. It has the weight training, it's got everything that they need as part of the fitness program. This is what we need to do for our first responders. We need to have a building strictly for them. They come in, the chief told me, Cindy, they come in any hours of the day. Any hours, it's theirs, it's for their use, and they love it. They come in before the shift, they come in after the shift, and I'm thinking, okay, what kind of a building can we do for our first responders? Well, gee whiz, we're about to move into a municipal complex. And we've got properties that we own as a city, as a council. We're responsible for these properties. Why can't we take that, it's gonna be a vacant police building, and convert that into a fitness training center for our first responders? This is theirs. They don't have to go somewhere and have to compete with someone to use the equipment. This is their equipment to use whenever they want, at whatever time. And I would like us to suspend this and let's focus on something permanent for our first responders. We need to do this for them.
One moment for me.
Can I just answer this? I'm just answering the question, so hopefully nobody feel like they're cutting in on anybody's time. But, you know, if someone would have thought about asking the question about what we were doing here at the city, maybe we could have saved them a lot of heartache. Because when we build the brand new municipal complex, it has a weight room facility that is included in the building for the fire department and the police department. We've already figured that out. We already got a place to build it. We already know where we're going to put it. We're also going to have another complex at the Civic Center. So not only can they do their work at the building that they're in, which would be the new municipal complex, but they can also do the same thing at the new Civic Center, and they can do it absolutely free. And also now at the present time, Iron Beach allows them to come and use their equipment any time of the day, and they do that for absolutely free. Therefore, I don't believe we need to postpone this to try to do what Calera do, because we don't do what other people do. We do what Irondale do because we built different. So I do not agree with postponing this to try to figure out how to build a facility 2 years down the road. We're talking about people getting in shape today, not tomorrow.
Councilwoman Cuellar, based on the response about the infrastructure that's currently planned to be put in place, do you still make your initial recommendation?
If the question I have here then is, if they're using the Irondale Fitness Beach Center at no cost, why are we even looking at increasing compensation?
We are increasing the compensation based on them passing the PT test. This has nothing to do with building a facility. This has to do with them qualifying to go through their PT test that they qualify on when they become an officer. No, I'm speaking, so don't point over there to him.
But this is council deliberation, sir.
I asked the council president, could I?
And I will give you your time to respond. He's
Right, but you're not going to cut me off in the middle of my conversation. That's rude. But
it's not rude.
It is rude. We are giving the 3% for the people that pass the fitness test. It has nothing to do with the building to be able to use the equipment, because what are we going to do? Wait 2 years to be able to give the fitness test? So that's what I think there's a misunderstanding of what the 3% is all about.
All right.
Please.
Council President Spivey, I'd like a team on this one, because in discussing with the fire chief an incentive for them, he did state we've got some concerns with the city being liable. We need to come up with wording that will avoid liability. So if you have someone that's going and trying to pass this fitness test, does this require a doctor's permission to avoid the liability? That's what we want to make sure of. We want to make sure that our employees are going to be protected. We need to look out for them. And so these are some questions that he brought up in my conversation with him. This is why I'm making these comments, because it's taking them into account.
clarifying question. You said you spoke to Chief.
Yes, Police Chief David Heitch in the
Okay.
city of Calera. And he was talking about the.
So you didn't speak to one of our police chiefs?
No,
about
I was
this.
speaking
These are
with him
concerns that
about
have been shared.
what did you
Okay.
do? Yes.
And did you voice those concerns with legal?
I didn't get a chance to discuss them with her because I had a CDA board meeting afterwards.
Fair enough.
But that was brought up. You know, if you're going to have a fitness incentive program, he was saying, you know, this is something that needs to be voluntary, but you also, as a city, you need a waiver so that you can avoid any liability.
Thank you
that.
for your
So
comments.
it's something for us to consider.
Thank you for your comments.
Council
And
President,
consider and make sure
can
that
the-
we have.
Can the attorney speak instead of having someone to speak? for
Let's
her?
go ahead and let's go around this room. That way, if there's any other questions that might fall into your wheelhouse, we can just field those all in one moment. Councilman Box.
It appears to me it's a voluntary program. It appears to me it's an award for participating in a voluntary program that is going to help the officers be stronger. They might even get a beautiful dad bod with a cookie zone like me if they work really hard. Guys, do you want it? Do you want it now? Yes. That's all I need to say.
Copy.
Mr. President.
Councilman Sims.
Having spent 10 plus years taking PFTs twice a year, mandatory twice a year, more than that for fun, and hated every one of them. I wish I would have gotten paid more for doing them. But so I think it's great. I think we should hold our first responders to a high standard. I think this will, they'll be able to see. I mean, they're going to be able to hit the standard. I think this is a great idea. Not opposed to it at all. I think it's great. I'm glad I don't have to run one once a year. But I think it's great, and yeah, go for it.
Okay. Legal, I would defer to you to answer any questions that might be in your lane.
Basically, this resolution actually establishes the program and formally funds it. And so any legal concerns would actually be addressed during implementation.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, legal. I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very, very supportive of this fitness training program. I want to make sure that you're protected, and I want to make sure that you have your own fitness training. That's why I brought this up, and I'm very, very thankful and grateful to the work that you do.
Item number 5, resolve the resolution 2024 R216 acknowledges the creation of a court liaison desk officer position in the Irondale Police Department. I understand this to be funded. I understand this to be a liaison that's going to go back and forth, but please share any additional information, Mayor.
Yes, this will be an individual. There are more things that take place with the court just on court date. They will be able to work with Dana and her group with other things that need to be done. One of them is warrant detail, being able to pick up people that are failure to appears to come to court. And when they're not working in the court, they will be back in their patrol position, actually working on the street as well. So it'll be a dual role for this individual.
Councilwoman Cuellar, any questions?
Only questions that council members ask, is this budgeted? And if not, what is our source of funding?
I think the council president just said that it was funded through the general fund.
It's funded.
Sorry,
No.
I was writing. Okay, thank you. No other questions.
Councilman Box.
No, I think it's great. Once again, we can have an officer designated to work with the court, do warrant service, whatever Lieutenant Kellogg and the chief decide that they need to do, that then can be back on patrol when he's not working for the court. It just keeps an officer doing that instead of not out being on patrol. So it's to me, it's a win all the way around.
Councilman Sims.
If we need it, I'm for it.
All right, I agree. And whose idea was this one?
This one is Dana and Officer Merchant. Is that right,
Absolutely.
Dana? Okay.
We agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Item number 6, resolve the resolution 2024 R217 acknowledges the creation of a training sergeant position in the Irondale Police Department. I understand this also to be a funded position, but please enlighten us, sir.
Yes, this will be an individual that will be primarily just responsible for training. Although training is now maybe split through a lieutenant, and they hold another administrative position. Is that pretty much correct, Jason? Shared position. This is one of the things that we heard again, whenever there's something that go awry, they want to know, did you provide your officers with the proper training? We want to make sure that we do that, and we want a person to be dedicated to make sure that this happened. This came from Police Chief Wiggins, and I can't think of the other person that submitted that, but this was their idea to be able to do that.
Fair enough. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Funded, I'm assuming that's general fund, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Councilman Box?
No, I'm good with it.
Councilman Sims?
All for it.
Outstanding. All for it as well. We agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Item number 7, resolve the resolution 2024 R218 authorizes the opening of police corporal as a classified position, whether one or many, through the Personnel Board of Jefferson County. I understand this is covered through salary line items, but it's a personnel board thing, and I don't understand it as well as you do, so I'm just going to kick
Okay.
that ball.
Well, we have 4 corporals here that works at the city, but they are not in a pay grade. They receive a premium, but that has nothing to do to be able to affect their overall salary. In having this discussion with them, to me, it only made good sense to be able, we have every other position has a description up under the personnel board, and it has grade as well as steps to go along with it. Now we want to be able to put the corporals in the same place, that they receive the same attention that all of the other positions in the department receive.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, I spoke about this with our attorney, and I was happy with her explanation and the mayor's explanation. We need to make sure that we do get this to the Personnel Board of Jefferson County. They're functioning in this capacity already. Therefore, they should be classified under the Personnel Board. Those are my comments.
Councilman Box?
No, I think it's great too, from my understanding of the corporal position, that, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, Lieutenant, but they can act as supervisors if a supervisor's on leave or absent or short-staffed on a shift. The corporal rank allows them to act as a supervisor.
Council President Spivey?
One moment for me. One moment. Let's go around in an orderly fashion. Councilman Sims?
No, yeah, I think it's great. I read through all the, I guess, from the personnel board. I did notice it said Vestavia from the cut and paste, but I know we're not going to pass it. They have to be working for Vestavia. And that was just a description for us to read. But yeah, I think it's great.
Cool. That was reflected in your
That was
comments.
it. I was going to ask, are we going to be following option B? Because option A says City of Vestavia.
Gotcha.
And that was my question of the attorney, and she wasn't sure, and I forgot to ask that
We're
question.
going to strike that.
What's that?
We're not following the Vestavia's model.
Option
Okay.
A. Yeah.
Gotcha. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Item number 8, resolve the resolution 2024 R219 establishes a travel policy for all City of Irondale employees. Councilwoman Cuellar, this has your name beside it, if you'd care to present it.
Yes. You have a draft. I want to thank our legal for helping with the verbiage in it. This way we have a standardized guide that all our employees can have when they conduct business in other places. It lists the government, U.S. General Services Administration. It has all the information. They just simply need to click on that for the per diem rates. Also with the meals and incidental expense rates. Again, this is taken from the U.S. General Services Administration. It's something that is a best practice, and I thought it was well laid out. I appreciate our legal counsel for helping to fine tune it.
Okay. Councilman Box, any questions?
Yeah, I think it's needed. I don't think we have any intentional abuse going on. I think we have some very generous folks on tips, and there was a couple of good points that were brought out to me on per diem sometimes, though. I don't know if we want to standardize a per diem rate because, a hotel room in New York City may be more expensive than a hotel room in Montgomery, Alabama, or something like that. So we may want to look at that so that the guys don't have to do the research of, well, how much is this hotel going to cost me? Maybe we just need to set a limit that says not to exceed. And so that way, you know, and then of course the department head that's allowing the person to go to training or go in themselves can say, okay, I'm not going to spend $550 a night if I can stay in a $250 a night hotel. But I do think the guidelines that are in place are going to look good, but there may be a few tweaks we need to do to it down the road, but I don't see any reason we couldn't pass it tonight.
Copy. Councilman Sims?
I'm not opposed to travel policy. I appreciate the time and effort Council Cuellar has put into what she's presented. My question, I guess, is the mayor's over the employees, the city clerk heavily involved in the employees. I'm curious the mayor and city clerk's thoughts on this policy, or if they've got a policy.
Can I answer that?
I was
Council
eventually going to
President?
defer to you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Please.
You want me to answer now?
Yeah, please.
We were not consulted on this travel policy. You would think that we would, since we are inside the house and we know how everything takes place. I will agree with April. She did a very good job. April did a very good job of putting this travel policy together. And I do have some amendments to make to the policy, especially since we say we want to follow the federal guidelines. It's kind of like sometimes, you know, when people read a Bible verse, they pick out what verse that fits them, but then they don't put it in the proper context for everything else. So I have something that I would like to add, Table 1, which comes out of the publication 463 of the Internal Revenue Service, that identifies those travel expenses that are deductible. I didn't make copies for everyone, but I would like to insert this into the document to make it more robust and make it better. My second adjustment would be what is called the high-low rate that is used by the federal government, which allows you to use one rate, which means that every time somebody get ready to travel, they don't have to go look up to see what is it in Orlando, what it is in Atlanta, what it is in New York. But the higher-low rate now is $297, which $74 of that is included for meals. I would like to edit the current document that we have and insert these two ideas into this document if you all want to know exactly what we feel fits the city from the administrative department.
Okay. Second round, Councilwoman Cuellar.
Yes, Council President Spivey and council members, we did not set a daily lodging rate, okay? I don't know where that came from, if you would have looked at. There is not a daily lodging rate, but it does refer to the government's site, which is where this came from.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the go-to. The next one has to do with, we're talking about New York, we're talking about other states. It's not too often that our employees are in other states, but there is language in this document that gives them the site where they can go. There are exceptions for those rare instances when they are out of state. The information that was taken was based on the state of Alabama, and it took Birmingham, it took Montgomery, it took Mobile, and the other municipality escapes me. So we basically went with the medium. We didn't go with the lowest, we didn't go with the highest. We went with the medium, which was fair, and that's how that amount came out. But for those times when you are out of state, you have the link where you can go to get those per diem rates, and they would apply the per diem rates that are in other states. You would not expect your employees to follow what the state of Alabama has when it's going to be a lot higher if they're in California or New York. So those are the comments that I have in regard to the statements that have been made. It's not to not give those allowances for our employees. It actually provides them with where they can go to get this.
Councilman Box.
Well, once again, how strict do we want to be on it? Yes, it is the people's money, so it needs to be overwatched. But with what April has put together at the behest of Councilwoman Cuellar, I don't think the high-low rate is a bad idea. because that is a guideline that's already set there in the policy, so that our employee doesn't have to go search and say, okay, and in this case I can go to this hotel, or in that case I can go to that hotel, or I can eat this meal or that meal. This to me was more on the fact of when it came up about gratuities being awarded on the city's P cards, that maybe were a little excessive on percentages. As I looked into that a little bit deeper, wasn't as bad as I was perceiving it to be, because you had an $11 meal and somebody gave a $5 tip. Just, okay, that is 50-something%. It's more than what's normal, but it's not horribly out of line. I would encourage this in my own position. If it were the city's card that I was charging the meal on, I would give a 25% tip, and then I'd give an additional cash out of my pocket. That's what I thought we needed this travel policy for. I didn't realize that we had to go into all of the, they can stay at this expensive hotel or that expensive hotel. I just think if they want to use the site that Councilwoman Queller is talking about, but I think that we could have it as an either or. Use the site that Councilwoman Queller is talking about, or have as the mayor suggested, a high-low.
Councilman Sims?
I'd like more time to look at what the mayor's proposing to change or add. Can we postpone this till the first meeting in January to look at the whole thing together after we see what the mayor's proposing?
Councilman Sims has asked a question to the body. How do y'all feel about postponing this? I see no harm in it personally. I'm good with that. We've got some good ideas flying around. So I'm perfectly fine pushing this back if we want to take some time to figure out which concept wins the day.
I appreciate what our legal team did, but if Counselor Sims wants to wait, and if the rest of the body wants to wait, I'm good with that too.
What say you, Councilman Box?
I'm a kind of get it done when it needs to get done, and then make the changes you need to make as you move along. But once again, is there not a way we could just add the mayor's suggestion into the verbiage of the resolution tonight and let it go ahead and pass tonight?
And I'm
then
fine with
tweak
that.
it later.
And if y'all want to move it to regular and someone introduces it in a particular fashion, then we can put it up for a vote and see if it lives or dies. So I respect Councilman Sims' desire to learn a little bit more and fully understand how each concept might affect the situation. Councilwoman Cuellar seems fine postponing it. Legal's grabbing the mic, so it looks like she has something to say.
Since we're not exactly sure the total, how everything would be put together, it would be beneficial for me to continue it, just so that we can actually make sure that it all reads exactly as you all would want it to.
We good?
Thank you,
There it
legal.
is. Copy that.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and postpone 8. So when it comes time to introduce the agenda, then please act accordingly. Item number 9, resolve that resolution 2024 R220 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart or his designee to make a payment in the amount of $21,608.77 to Massey Asphalt Paving following the completion of paving and inspection by the city's Building Inspections Department to the work done on Grants Mill Parkway. I understand that this is funded. It's coming out of the gas tax, and this involves the conditions of the road going to Mercedes. Anything in particular you need to say about this, Mayor?
Well, it's actually Sonic.
Oh, my bad, Sonic.
Sonic dealership over there. I think Frank provided you all with some pictures to show you that the road is sliding away. They basically patched as much as they can. It now needs to be milled and repaired before we put out the larger paving plan. We hope that you would adopt it tonight so that we can go ahead and get those repairs done.
Okay. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Only question is, when will the work begin, once it's adopted?
Sonic Group, maybe July.
Mhm.
We had this on the paving list that the mayor talked about, but it's getting so bad, those cars are going in and out. We're going to damage some and they're going to hold the slide.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And I'm good as well. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Outstanding. Item number 10, resolve that resolution 2024 R221 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute an agreement with Slappy Communications LLC, DBA IT Voice for the provision of fiber optic internet at the Irondale Civic Center in an amount not to exceed $1,470.99 per month. I know this has got Mr. Doss's name beside it, but I know, Mayor, you were able to answer my questions if you'd be so kind.
Yes, I'll just, we have an agreement with Slappy to be able to provide the entire city of Irondale with certain services. And when we add another service to a different building, that contract still applies to that service being added. Therefore, we're going through Slappy to be able to provide this service to the Civic Center because they provide this to other buildings throughout the city of Irondale.
Okay. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, I spoke with our legal about this. There was only one that she was not able to answer, but perhaps Mr. Doss could. Looking at this agreement with Slappy Communications, on page 2, item number 8, it says, the DMARC must be in the same room as the phone equipment. If it is not, then the DMARC will be extended at the customer's costs. Is it located, is it in the same room as the phone equipment?
This is part of the remodel for the Irondale Civic Center.
Mhm.
I have not been provided the plans yet, but I don't know how the utilities would be coming into the building because the utilities are being rerouted.
Okay.
So we'll know later.
You'll know later. Oh,
This service is not gonna happen today. It's gonna be happening during the remodel, and we will not be charged until we actually regain control of the building. When the contractors have let go of the building.
so would there be some plans in place so that number 8 would be satisfied, where you would have it in the same room as the phone equipment? Okay.
I'm sure it will be.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Okay. Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And myself, no questions. I mean, your concern, it makes sense that it should be there. So I
Yes.
would be surprised if that infrastructure wasn't centrally located in one room together, but fair concern. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Item number 11, resolve that resolution 2024 R222 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart or his designee to purchase one Chevrolet Equinox for the Irondale Public Library in an amount not to exceed $25,829 even. I understand this is coming from the CAP fund, and the vehicle was bought off the state bid list. Anything you care to say, Mr. Mayor?
No, the only thing is there were, I think, 2 vehicles was given, and the reason that this one was chosen because it has room in the back for them to be able to carry their equipment when they're going to the schools, when they're going to different places to do presentations and present things about the library. This provides them with that space to be able to put their presentation materials in there.
Thank you. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Thank you for that additional information, Mayor. No other questions.
Councilman Box?
All my questions are answered.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And my only comment is my wife drives an Equinox, and you can put a lot of stuff in that Joker.
Well, Dale will be happy. I think she's sitting right there, so she'll be very happy about it.
Perfect. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
All right. All right. Let's see here. We have our second reading, which would be item number 12 under the regular agenda. We'll obviously take questions here in a moment once we have, or take recommendations once we have an agenda. Any final parting shots about this second reading? I know the only thing that I'm feeling is I know there has been some kind of late commenting around some of 2 versus 3. If the body so feels to move it tonight, then it is what it is. And I will vote my conscience on it. But I do think, due to some of the recent concern that's come out of District 1, that we look at postponing this redistricting to the second meeting of January. Councilwoman Cuellar, your thoughts?
We have been kicking this can down the road for a long time. We've had opportunities for all of the residents going back to October the 22nd to come and talk to us. The maps have been up for a long time. The maps have been up. Discussions have been had The maps have been posted on Facebook pages, and we need to make this decision because we are under time constraints. I brought out the point about the information. Our clerk needs to provide this to the Jefferson County Board of Registrars so that they can work this information in. It then goes to the State of Alabama Secretary of State. They also need to work with it. Anyone that's planning to run for office will not be able to obtain any information until we get this in. And it's not fair to continue to kick the can down the road when we know that we've got these deadlines that we need to meet for obtaining the information that anyone who's planning to run for office needs to have. So for that reason, I'm asking that we move forward with this.
Councilman Box?
Thank you, Council President. My constituents in District 4 that have responded to me have overwhelmingly said to map 2 and move it forward quickly. Now, when I hear Councilwoman Cuellar's reasons of wanting to wait for somebody else to run so they can get their information, it doesn't weigh with me because that's one person wanting to run, that's not the citizens. When I hear Councilman London saying that he doesn't want things to happen because of certain things that he may be concerned about or not, I'm not always sure that that's talking about the preponderance of the citizens that have responded. So, irregardless of my personal feelings, which do differ, which would lean more to possibly postponing or reevaluating, my constituents in District 4 have made it very plain, vote for map number 2 and vote for it tonight.
Fair enough. Councilman Sims will say.
I guess I've got a question for the city attorney. What is the deadline? That'll be the easiest way to say that.
That's May something.
It's May 26th.
May 26th.
I'm fine with waiting till the second week in January, or the second meeting in January, like the council president suggested.
Okay. Legal, when we have 2 going one way and 2 going another, when we don't have an odd man, is that my call?
It,
okay, copy. All right.
Could I have a second round? Because I did have another question.
We'll go properly in order.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Cuellar, do you have a second round question or comment?
This isn't, the comments I made were not based on one person or 2 persons. This is based on getting the information to the Secretary of State. It cannot get to the Secretary of State until it goes to the Jefferson County Board of Registrars. That takes time. So to go on and say May, that's just point number 1. Point number 2 is our residents are sick and tired. They have contacted me. Other residents have contacted me. Why are we kicking this can down the road? The voices have spoken since October the 22nd. And then we had them come back and it was postponed. And then we had them come back and it was postponed. And then we had them come back a 3rd time and they spoke again for option 2. And now we're wanting to postpone it again. We are not listening to our residents. And we need to listen to our residents and do what they say. They put us in office. This is it. Kicking the can down the road, as I've said, and we need to make a decision tonight because they have spoken. Those are my comments.
Councilman Box, you asked for a second round?
Yeah, just a curiosity of, let's say we do vote it tonight and it goes to 2-2 and it fails, then it has to come back and be reintroduced again at another time for option 2 to even be viable at that point in time?
To your point, it would become a new ordinance number. So yes, it would go back through first reading process.
So if we postpone it tonight, then it would not have to come back for a second or for
a first reading.
Another initial reading. It should still be a second reading.
Accurate.
And I don't see, even if it passes tonight, there's still some political maneuvering that could be done to postpone it or put it on hold so it'd come back anyway. I won't cover that option, but I know it exists.
Are you finished with your second round?
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
I apologize,
gotcha.
Mr. President.
Councilman Sims, you've made your point. Do you have anything to add to it?
No.
Okay.
Council President,
yes, sir.
Can I say something?
Please.
I guess the thing that I would like to say, in my past life, I was the city clerk. So I know that it doesn't take 3 months for the Jefferson County probate to be able to deal with whatever you all decide. That needs to be submitted to them to be able to submit that to the state. We're talking about probably less than a month to be able to get all of that done. So I would not encourage you all to run through this just because you're being told that it need to be done to get down to the state of Alabama. Number two, I don't believe because 30 people came in here and said the same thing that's representation of the city of Irondale when we have 13,526 citizens. So I would say, well, my recommendation would be to postpone it. Let's do it fair. Let's do it equitable because, I mean, I've been here, I only missed one. And like I said, I've only seen 30 people that were orchestrated to come up here to be able to say the same thing. And I don't think that should dictate that we need to do something tonight because of those 30 individuals.
My closing comment on that, thank you. My closing comment on the fact that is by proxy, and I wasn't asked to speak for District 1, but I'm speaking for District 1 because they do not have representation this evening. So that's kind of part of a little bit of my passion on this because the concerns have come out of District 1 and they're not here to have representation this evening. So we'll leave it where it is and we'll follow legal's recommendation and we will see where the item takes us. All right. Item number 13 is a public hearing. So we will move on past that. We will come to it in the order of how we move through our agenda. As we're doing our yays and nays, we'll come to that. We'll have a public hearing specifically around that. Item number 14, same thing. And then item number 15 would be ordained that ordinance 2024-26 modifies the municipal code of the city of Irondale, Alabama related to Chapter 4 building and building regulations. I understand this updates fees around permits. Anything else to say, Mayor, or should I defer?
I would defer to Greg on this one.
Mr. Cochran, if you'd be so kind.
Yeah, this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Roberts need to be cleaned up, and I got with our legal team, and they've been working hard to change a lot of our ordinances and building permit costs, and I've checked around with surrounding municipalities. We were so far, we've been doing this, I think since 2016, and I want to raise these permit fees to get comparable to all the other municipalities around us.
Okay.
That's what it's about.
Councilwoman Cuellar, any questions for Mr. Cochran?
No, I just want to thank Mr. Cochran and our legal attorney for cleaning up a lot of our ordinance. I did go and look at it, at what we've got on the Muni Code and looked at what you've got here. Thank you. Well done. Thank you to our legal counsel as well.
Councilman Box?
No, I think it's great. And just for my own clarification, this will be on any new applications for permit, it won't be the increase to existing stuff or work that's already on the books.
From the time y'all voted in on forward.
Thanks, sir.
Councilman Sims?
Thank you, and no other questions.
Okay, and thank you very much for that. I'd love to put it on consent, but it's an ordinance, so we can't. So that takes care of that. Going back to comments, obviously we're fixing to introduce or approve our agenda that we've discussed this evening. When it comes to comments around agenda items only, the items that we've been deliberating, I would say any comments that pertain to the two public hearings be done in that public hearing. Anything else is free game when it comes to comments around agenda items. Fair enough? All right. That being said.
Council President.
Yes, sir.
City attorney's trying to get your attention.
Yes, ma'am.
I actually mentioned that they would include on page 2 of Exhibit A, the removal of option A.
Okay. Does everybody have that? Give you a moment to take some notes. So we've finished our deliberation. At this time, I would look for an approval of the form of the agenda.
I make a motion, we approve the form of the agenda, postponing item 8, and then on item 7, removing option A.
Is legal satisfied with that introduction?
On page 2. Option A.
Exhibit A on
Exhibit
page
A.
2.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No nays, no abstentions. All right. We have an approved agenda. At this time, we would take any questions or comments, or well, comments on agenda items only.
Judy Wilson, 3510 Belmont Road. I would say I'm very disappointed in the council today. We have come back several times. The last council meeting, because one council person voted against passing for Plan 2. It was brought back today, and they were going to vote on it today. Well, it's not our fault that Councilman London is not here today. So their people are not being represented. That's not our fault. We are here. We are here supporting that they would pass it. So as I just wanted to say, I'm very deeply disappointed in the work or the non-work of the council.
Comments on agenda items?
Bishop Jim, on 3536 Bonita Drive. I've been to several council meetings, and I would like to encourage the council to start listening to citizens. I've seen this council on several occasions dismiss the opinions of the citizens for whatever political reasons, and it should be responsible to citizens, not to whatever political agenda you guys have. I stand with Judy on this. There have been several meetings. This is a nation that responds to the people, not to the politicians. And I'm encouraging you guys, please, it's an election year coming up. Let's respect what you have heard from your citizens. If it's been orchestrated or whatever, it's the ones who get the vote out. Gentlemen, this is an extreme disappointment that we can't come to an agreement. All because, what is this? Do we have some ulterior motive that's going on here when you've heard all the citizens speak? Gentlemen, please, let's move forward. We must have progress, fiscally responsible progress in this city. And we need you guys to do your due diligence and not go by politics, but go by what's right. That's all I'm asking you to do. I haven't said much recently, but it's time we move the city forward and do the right things, not according to politics, but according to the people. I've seen you do it before. You dismissed countless number of people that have come in here and you voted against them. That needs to stop, Joe. This is a democracy. And you guys, maybe you know something we don't know, but at least tell us those things. And at least if there's something we don't know, talk about it so we can understand what you know. And just don't say, I don't have no questions. It's right to challenge.
Thank you, Bishop. Any other comments on agenda items? Any other comments on agenda items? All right, we will move past our section there. At this time, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. All right, that brings us to our first item on the irregular agenda, item number 12.
I make a motion that ordinance 2024-22 be considered read.
This is a second reading. It does not have to go through the three-step process. It
I
just
make
needs
a
to be
motion that
moved.
we approve ordinance 2024-22 which authorizes the selection of Plan B for redistricting the city and authorizing Mayor Stewart or his designee to take all necessary steps to effectuate this selection.
You said Plan
You
B.
said Plan B, I mean, I believe.
Plan
you meant
B.
two. Plan two.
Oh, excuse me, Plan 2. I apologize. Do you want me to do it again, sir? I make a motion that we
Thank you.
approve ordinance 2024-22, which authorizes the selection of Plan 2 for redistricting the city and authorizing Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to take all necessary steps to effectuate this selection.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. We're gonna do roll call on this. Councilwoman Cuellar,
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
No.
And myself, no. Motion fails.
So, excuse me, Council President, just a point of order, so just for clarification now. Option 2 cannot come back except as a brand new move through the whole ordinance process.
Accurate.
Thank you.
This is
Item number
crazy.
13 will be a public hearing. Motion to move into a public hearing.
Make a motion, we enter public hearing.
Second.
Opened by Councilman Sims, seconded by Box. Councilman Box, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Enter into a public hearing for ordinance 2024-24, rezones the property located at 2101 Fifth Terrace South, Irondale, Alabama, 35210, from R2 Residential District to R3 Residential Duplex District. One thing I will say about this is it has gone through P&Z. It was passed unanimously. This house has been a duplex for many moons. It was just realized once there was an application or there was something involving the utility boxes, realized there were two utility boxes, and then realized it didn't conform to a current zoning. Is anybody here to present this case? Yes, sir. Well, hang 1 second. Yes, sir. Please come on up.
I live at 2101 Fifth Terrace South. I live in that property.
Okay.
It has the old electrical system. There's 2 levels to it. It's a duplex. I'm just trying to get it up to date with the appropriate electrical there.
All right, please stay up here if you could.
Yes, sir.
Councilwoman Cuellar, do you have any questions for the gentleman?
You just explained that the electrical work is outdated. You're needing to bring that up to code. Is there anything else that you're going to be doing there?
So I've painted the inside and I switched out the cabinets, but really, and I think I put in a new AC unit. Like it had window ACs, so I put a new AC unit.
Yeah, I drove through it and actually saw the work that's being done, and it's why I wanted to ask if you were going to be doing some additional work.
I painted the outside too. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Councilman Box?
So since it is a duplex, will you be using it then as 2 separate residences?
Yes, sir.
That's all my questions.
Councilman Sims?
I can't think of any questions. So basically, it is a duplex. It's not zoned for a duplex. We're just catching up with times, I guess.
Basically.
Okay.
I believe this unit has been overlooked for some time, but then when you got into the electrical, had to pull some permits, we realized it didn't conform to the current zoning. How long has it been a duplex for? Approximately, I know.
Over 40 years, ever since the prior owner, and she lived in it probably at least 40 years, she said. She can give me an exact time.
That's fine. I think 40 years works for me. All right. That being said, at this time, thank you very much, sir. At this time, I would take any comments on people for the rezoning. Anyone to speak for the rezoning? All right. Yes, ma'am, please. Fair enough. We do need your name, ma'am, and your street number. Thank you. Anyone else for this rezoning? Anyone against this rezoning? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Jimmy Morgan. I have quite a bit of zoning experience. I'm an attorney, licensed home builder, and developed many properties in the Jefferson County and state, Alabama. My issue is not with the use of this gentleman, but I think adopting a R3 is an inappropriate thing to do, and it's surrounded by R2. Now, there are other ways that this can be handled. One would be a variance, and I think it's probably, I would say it's bad public policy to rezone to accommodate a particular situation when a variance could be handled. So you may want to consult with Mr. Gerald's on that, but I think that's, most zoning people would say it's probably bad policy to rezone it rather than address it as a variant.
Thank you for your comments.
What was your address, sir?
503 Deering Street.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any other comments against the rezoning? All right. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to leave public hearing.
Motion to leave public hearing.
Second.
Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So now that we are done with our public hearing on this, would someone begin the process or make a recommendation? I will say that it was approved unanimously by P&Z and there was no additional recommendations made other than the rezoning.
We're going to the next public hearing, or?
No, we'll go ahead and we'll address
Okay.
this one. Yep.
Whose district is this in?
This isn't mine. I'll be more than happy to introduce it. I just don't have the script.
Make a motion that ordinance 2024-24 be considered read.
Second.
Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion that we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2024-24.
Second.
Motion, second. Roll call. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Finally, sir.
Make a motion that ordinance 2024-24 be approved and adopted.
Second.
Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No noes, no abstentions. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 14, I need a motion to go into a public hearing.
Motion under public hearing.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Box, seconded by Councilwoman Cuellar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Ordained that ordinance 2024-25 rezones the property located at 3127 Old Ivy Road, Irondale, Alabama, 35210 from A1 Agricultural District to E1 Estate District. Do we have anyone to represent? Okay, please come on up, sir. I know that you've been kind of working through this process for a little while now.
Yes, sir. And Mr. President, members of the council, Mr. Mayor, I'm Ken Thompson. Thank you for having me, and Merry Christmas, and hope you all are having a happy holiday. And thank you for your service. You guys are working hard, and I know your citizens greatly appreciate it. I'm a lawyer in town. My address 4976 Heather Point, Birmingham, 35242. And I'm here representing the property owner, Mr. George Sutter. Mr. Sutter lives at 3127 Old Ivy Road, Irondale, Alabama, 35210. And I don't know if any of you have ever been in that area, but it's really beautiful. I mean, it's a kind of a hidden gem in there. Mr. Sutter's family may be one of the oldest residents of that area. His family has been on this lot for over 60 years. He's got a vested interest in the area, and he genuinely loves it, and it's very dear to him. Mr. Sutter's lot is currently zoned for agricultural use. And I pulled the regulations for agricultural use in the city of Irondale. And because many of you may think, why does Mr. Sutter want to change the use of this property? Why isn't he happy with agricultural use? But first, I'd like to just share with you some things that Mr. Sutter can do with his property as agricultural. He can have an apiary, which I think is like chicken coops or something like that. He can have a dairy farm. He can have a dog kennel with outside runs. He can do general farming. He can have a greenhouse. He can have a poultry. He actually could have chicken houses in his yard if he wanted to have chicken houses. He can have rabbit farms and other animal farms. Maybe emus. He could do just about anything he wants to do. So I've ridden through that area. I didn't see any of these things going on. There may be a vegetable garden, but that's about it. And there's probably not a whole lot of agriculture going on in the city of Irondale anyway. So how did this property ever become zoned agricultural? Well, I've been doing municipal work for almost 30 years, and I can tell you how it happens. When new property, and you all probably all already know this, when new property is annexed into cities, the default classification is generally agriculture. That is the sort of default because it has a variety of uses, as you've already seen. One of those uses is having a single-family residence. A while back, Mr. Sutter decided that it would be nice to have his daughter living next to him. He's getting older. That's him right there. No, raise your hand, Mr. Sutter. That's George Sutter, folks. Longtime citizen of Ireland. So George decided he'd love to have Kelly living near him. Excuse me. He's getting older, like all of us. It makes a lot of sense, and she would love to do it. The problem is, Mr. Sudworth can't build another house on his 4 acres. Can't do it. So he wants to carve off part of his acreage and give it to his daughter so that she can build her own home and take care of him in his twilight years. That's the plan. That's all there is to it. Agricultural requires 3 acres. Mr. Sudworth proposes to give his daughter Kelly a little more than an acre. So it won't qualify for agricultural use. So what would Mr. Sudworth like to do? Well, he would like to have a part of his property rezoned to estate, which permits a lot of at least 1 acre. So it will fit perfectly. Now, Mr. Sudworth's house sits in about, I guess it would be the front third of the lot facing the street. There's no way to put another house behind him. And with 1 acre, there's no way to put another house next to him in the lot that he's proposing for his daughter, Kelly. This proposed use is entirely consistent with the council's and the planning commission's 2021 land use plan. It calls for estate. And that is exactly what we're proposing. Now, Mr. Sudworth is not the first person in this area that has asked for their property to be rezoned to an estate lot. There are other lots right up the street that are estate lots today. And they're doing just what Mr. Sudworth is doing. They have a single family home on it. So Mr. Sudworth's not asking for anything that anyone else in his neighborhood isn't already doing. In fact, by having his property rezoned to E1, as you can plainly see, he's restricting what can happen on his property. He doesn't mind doing that at all. He keeps his property up very well. He's interested in home values in his area, and just like everyone else is, and he would like to simply have his daughter living next to him. Again, the land use plan is entirely consistent with Mr. Sudworth's request. And folks, I love coming to city council meetings. I just love the fact that these people here can come and tell you about their problems, and you guys try to solve them. That's what y'all do. And you don't get paid enough for it, and I get it. We still live in America, right? We value property rights, do we not? Each man ought to be able to do what he wants to with his own property, unless it interferes with someone else's property. And I think that tonight is a perfect example. y'all gave out awards for the nicest Christmas decorations in town. That is a classic example of everybody doing what they want to do with their property. And it makes everybody happy, and it's not hurting anybody. Well, Mr. Sudworth just wants the opportunity to build a very, very nice home next to his existing nice home so his daughter can live there. So I have I have delivered a letter brief to you guys that I hope the city clerk has put in each of your boxes. And Mr. President, I'd like to ask for a couple of things tonight. One is I'd like to ask for my letter to be read into the record of this proceeding. And secondly, I would like to ask you all, in the spirit of Christmas, to suspend the rules tonight and take up ordinance number 2024-25 and rezone Mr. Sudworth's property from A1 to E1 so his daughter and her family can live next to him. That is what we're asking.
Can I borrow your copy?
You certainly may.
Have to read it. Gotcha. You've got a copy of this.
Do we need a
This
motion?
came to the city clerk via Butch Gerald's, correct?
I actually dropped it off first.
Okay, perfect. Okay, gotcha. Do you need this back, or would you like me to place it in her capable hands?
You did place it in your table.
All right.
It can,
Fair enough. Thank you very much.
Council President.
Yes, ma'am.
We don't, add, any letters to the record.
Okay.
But it can certainly be read as a part of this, but actually not included in the minutes.
So is your recommendation that I verbally read it now? Okay.
If that's what you're asking
Gotcha.
for, we just won't
Okay.
include it in the minutes.
Well,
It's long.
I entirely wanted it to be part of the record, so it's not going to be in the record. I don't want to take up any more of the council's time.
Would you say that this letter and your presentation encompasses the spirit of this letter? Anything else in that would not? Okay, gotcha. So you feel that you introduced this fairly well?
I think so.
Copy that. All right, thank you very much. Yeah, if you want to hand it back to the gentleman. Please stay up here for one moment.
Sure.
Councilwoman Cuellar, any questions for the
Yeah.
gentleman?
Yes, sir. Council, we've been dealing with this property since 2022. I am the representative of this district. I have heard from my constituents. They have A1 properties. They are adamantly against it. One of the comments that I would like to make is the property right next door to Mr. Sudworth was sold. He could have bought that property for his daughter. She'd have been right next door to him. So I've got concerns about that. So to come and tell me these things, I've got reservations. I'm listening to all of the constituents that live around this area, and they are A1 zoned properties. A1 zone does not just mean chickens and so on. We have horses that are around Carl Daly. And the people purchased these properties knowing exactly why they wanted these properties. And they are not meant to just be, well, this person wants this and this person wants this. Yes, I do believe in property rights, but when you start to infringe on the property rights of the neighbors that live around there and they're adamantly opposed to it, we need to listen to them and not just one individual. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cuellar. Councilman Box?
No, I've heard the gentleman, and as I said, we've been going over this quite a bit lately. Let's continue the public hearing.
Okay. Councilman Sims, say.
I just have, okay, so the ordinance says rezones the property located at 3127 Old Ivy Road. That is the 3.02 acres. Well, I'll click the wrong way. That is, your survey shows Mr. Sutter's property and the property next door, and there's additional property lines. So has that additional property already been purchased from
It
the next door
has.
neighbor?
It
Okay.
has been.
And so it's already been surveyed out. And so is are you trying to turn that into 2 parcels, or is it 1 parcel that'll have 2 houses?
It would be 2 parcels.
2 parcels.
But in order to make it 2 parcels, you've got to have it zoned not agricultural. Is that
Correct.
correct? Because the
That
1
is-
acre, 1.8, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm pretty, okay. I think you got me where I was confused. A tiny portion of the top of his previous, and then swings around, and I guess, is this just to the left of a creek where the property line is?
Yes, sir, Counselor. Mr. Suttereth actually purchased this additional acreage from the neighbor. And that was done, actually a couple of years ago.
Okay. The county just hasn't caught up, but,
Well, it hasn't actually been legally subdivided yet. He
Okay.
has acquired the acreage. The next step,
Got it.
if the council approves the rezoning, would be subdividing into 2 lots.
which really the subdivision will be his existing previous, I mean, his current lot will remain the same except for a tiny corner. And then the second lot will be what was acquired from the neighbor.
He's adding to his lot, and so I think it will actually, the new lot will encompass part of the existing acreage that Mr. Suttereth had, plus the acreage that he purchased.
Okay. And at the end of the day, your goal is 2 lots, both zoned E1.
No.
That is correct. There would be 2 lots zoned E1 once a subdivision takes effect. If the council were to pass this ordinance tonight, it would be 1 lot E1.
Which you will then come back
And then we will come
request
back
to
and subdivide it into 2 lots.
Build a house.
The way you see it there on the plan.
Got it.
And this does not in any way impact anyone's ability to have horses or chickens or emus or whatever else they want to have on their property.
If anybody in Irondale has an email, I'd like to come see that, by the way. I think you've answered my questions. Yeah, that's all I have at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Council President Spivey, I
One
do
moment,
have
if
a-
I may.
Okay.
We'll go in turn. I'm trying to remember, catch me up, because I know to Councilwoman Cuellar's point, we have been talking about this case for some time, so I'm a little fuzzy on the details. Did the replat approval already come through P and Z with approval based on the approval of this ordinance, or did y'all truly have to apply for that replatting after this moment?
To my knowledge, the platting process has not been commenced.
Okay.
There's been no preliminary plat filed at this point, nor any
Okay.
final plat.
Copy. That's what I
The
needed.
first step, we want to have the entire 4 acres rezoned to E1.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes,
ma'am.
I did want to make one notation because, again, these are residents that I represent. When in your letter, you talk about page 73 on our Blueprint Irondale Comprehensive Plan. Well, I look at page 43 of our Blueprint Irondale Comprehensive Plan, and under that plan, all of those lots are A1. And that's the plan that I follow. Those lots that are shown on page 43 of Blueprint Irondale, the comprehensive plan on page 43, those lots are all zoned A1. So I do want to make that point. That's what I follow. And this is what the residents who live around here are saying as well. We purchased these properties because we knew they were zoned A1, and now they're trying to change everything. Why not do the woman that he purchased that extra little parcel from? She sold that property. It's zoned A1. And my question that keeps coming back is, why did he not buy all of that so that he could have his daughter right next door to him? So these two things, page 43 of our comprehensive plan, that's what I follow. And telling me that he wants to have his daughter, he had that opportunity and chose not to exercise it.
Does that conclude your comments?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
The only question I would have was, council, that you said that, in the neighborhood or in the area, there were some estate lots already. Do you have addresses on those in the contiguity of that to his property?
Counselor, if I may introduce, Mr. Arrington, who is Mr. Sutter's surveyor, and I believe he can answer that question.
Yeah, I printed this out before I came. If I can just bring it up, this is a copy of the old zoning map. So this is Mr. Sutter's property right here. The zoning map predates the actual lot lines. So the actual property, since it was resurveyed from the lane that he bought part of the property, which was the creek. Basically, this is the creek, this is the dividing line. But when I was plotting this out, I wanted to illustrate, because I know how important zoning continuity is. But if you look at this, which is just right down the street, you've got all this green A1 surrounded by R1, by E1. Up here, you've got, it's this particular E1 just right down the street is bordered on all four sides by A1. This little island of R1 is bordered by A1. Up here, right here, this is E1 bordered by A1. So it's not, it's been done based on this current zoning map. So if you want, you can keep that if you want it. That's what I wanted to know.
So there is no E1 contiguous to the property that's in question?
No.
No.
Okay, thank you. That was one of those.
Councilman Sims, any final remarks?
Not at this moment.
Okay. Is there any, so we're about to take yays and nays on this, so if there's any deliberation, this is the last moment to do that.
I might have a question after we hear from more of the public, but.
Cover that. All right. All right. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, if I could make one response to the council's comment about page 43, and I don't have it in front of me, and I don't profess to be an expert in Iredell City Land Use Plan, but I suspect that page 43 is actually what things are currently zoned. It is not the future land use plan for the city. The future is on, I think, on page 70 that calls for that to be state.
Right, and that's the property owners that are currently living there. They are zoned A1. There are no E1 contiguous around that area. And these are the voices that matter. The people that live around there, they have rights as well.
All right, Councilwoman Cuellar, I'm going to go ahead and drop that off. Speaking of the people's voices, let's go and hear from them. At this time, I would take any comments for the rezoning. For the rezoning. Any comments against the rezoning? Is there?
My name's Sam Prina. I live at 3119 Old Ivy Road. My wife and I just purchased that property recently, so have been properties for sale near Mr. Sudduth because we actually purchased. We actually purchased there because we wanted a property for our grandchildren, and it's Mr. Thompson's right. It is a hidden gem. It is a special place, and we moved out of Birmingham City for that special place where our grandkids can ride their bikes and not worry about a lot of cars. It's absolutely beautiful. We want to keep it that way. And when I looked at page 73, there's a caveat that says, yes, in the future, unless it disturbs the quality of life of the residents as right now, it would absolutely disturb us. It would tarnish our hidden gem irreparably. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments against the rezoning?
Gordon Black, 3123 Old Ivy Road, contiguous to George. George is a wonderful guy and a great neighbor. Changing the zoning of this area would be a terrible precedent. Referred to as a hidden gem, it is also particularly special in the city of Irondale, I would argue. We did very much move there for the A1, for the ability to have the space and the non-subdivision activity around us. So I oppose changing the zoning.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments against the rezoning?
Can I ask our city attorney a quick question while she's coming up?
Sure. Sure.
A1 has to be at least how many acres?
3.
How do we have A1 that are less than 3 acres? That
We don't?
we do. This gentleman's property is 0.5 acres.
No.
I'm looking at it. There. Okay, well, you got, ma'am, sorry to interrupt. I just,
I'm Ashley Umbach, UMBACH, 3131 Old Ivy Road. It's good to see y'all again. I've spoken to y'all before. Just to speak again about page 73, since everyone's harping on it, I did want to point out that although it describes the area as estate, it does say that the appropriate zoning districts in the estate, which it's using as a descriptive term, the appropriate zoning districts are E1 and A1. And when you see the map that is attached to it, it is keeping our lots that are currently A1 remaining A1. Once you make lots smaller, you can't make them bigger again. That's sort of hard. I know that y'all remember the litany of people who came a couple of months ago to tell you about the fainting goats and the bees and the chickens and the vegetable gardens. And so I know maybe just driving down the street, you don't see everything that's going on, but I've been up to Chattanooga looking at alpacas. And so the emu, maybe not, but the alpacas, yes. We live right next door to Mr. Sudduth. On the other side, the people who owned the lot before we did sold that little sliver of land to him before we bought the lot. When we looked at the house, we knew, they said, that piece of property between the neighbor and the creek is no longer part of this. It has been sold. And we said, "Hook, what up with that? Are we still a minimum of 3 acres? Is it still agricultural?" Yes. That was our first question because that was the reason we were out there looking. Number 2, she said, now he has made some waves about wanting to build a house for his daughter.
Please make your point very quickly.
Yes, it has gotten turned down. This happened before we bought the lot. So in reliance on the fact it had been denied, we bought the lot. However, I did look at the ordinances of Irondale. What is the law here to get something changed? And you have to meet special conditions. You know, it can't just be something that happens to any old lot. You want to do something, it has to be a special hardship peculiar to your lot, not merely a convenience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments against this rezoning? All right. Councilman Sims, you were making a point about something?
The 5 lots, if you're on Old Ivy looking at Mr. Sutter's lots, the 5 lots to the right, none of them are over 3 acres. This gentleman's is, I think, 0.56. And so I'm just curious how we have lots under 3 acres existing in the A1 zoning that should be 3 acres. And we're saying that maybe you can't do the same thing.
I am not sure about this because it is being asked tonight. my thought would be is that when it was, brought into the city, that it is very similar, to what, Minister Thompson said earlier, that it is automatically zoned.
Because it was in the county previously.
Correct. And so that would have actually created the ordinance. I'm not sure, because I can't actually see that in the ordinances. I would actually have to look into that further.
So Councilman, if I may, Council President, so Council Sims, you're saying that there's at least one lot that is in this quote unquote neighborhood, maybe not possibly contiguous, that is less than the 3 acre minimum, but still is carrying an A1.
There are at least 4 immediately, I guess, as you go down Old Ivy towards, and then they touch some R1s.
Is there any way of showing that those are individual property owners, or does someone own maybe 3 lots, so therefore their 3 lots would total to the 3 acres? Or
They're each individual houses.
each individuals. Thank you. No more questions.
In looking at the city's, zoning area map, it actually notes previous, county zoning. So that,
That
there
answers.
is no legal documents to that. We would be relying upon the accuracy of that. But that does, shed
Explain.
light on where that A1 came from.
Are we ready to
Are
close
we
public
allowed
hearing?
to do a variance on A1? I don't know. I mean, it seems silly that, no, you have to have at least 3 acres. Yet the 5 property owners to your left, looking out your front door, all have less than 3 acres. I would agree with that.
But I understand where you're coming from, Sims. That makes sense to me that, if you've got 5 neighbors living on less than 3 acres and you're wanting to require this one neighbor to have 3 acres, then that's a little bit of a double standard.
Any other comments before we close this public hearing? Going once, going twice. I ask for a motion to leave a public hearing.
Motion to leave public hearing?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. That being said, we've concluded our public hearing. If someone chooses to take action and introduce,
Yes, I make a motion that ordinance 2024-25 be denied.
we have a motion on the floor.
I'll second because everything deserves a vote.
Fair enough. Councilman Sims?
Are we voting now or?
Councilwoman Cuellar has moved this ordinance to be denied.
I second it because it deserves a vote.
Okay.
I guess I should say all in favor of the motion being denied. We'll do roll call just for clarity. Councilwoman Cuellar, motion
Yes.
to deny, yes. Councilman
No.
Box,
No. He said no.
I understand what's happening. So double check what you're saying and make sure it aligns with.
I understand.
Okay.
I think the motion needs to stay to be, it's going to be passed because I have seen what Councilman Sims just pointed out.
Okay, understood. So that's a no to the motion introduced by Councilwoman Cuellar. That's a no from Councilman Sims, and that'll be a no for me as well. Does anybody care to reintroduce this?
I make a motion that ordinance, what number are we doing? 2024-25 be considered read.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yeah, I'll have
Okay, I
it
didn't hear you. I
considered
just want to
read.
make sure I got you
Yes.
clearly. Okay.
Make
Yes,
a
sir.
motion, we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2024-25.
Second.
Motion, second. Roll call. Councilwoman Cuellar?
No.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. No need to move it forward. It could possibly come back at a later date. It will come back at a later date. So, this is the second meeting in December, so first meeting in January? Okay, copy that. Thank you. All right. And then, finally, so basically what happened is, when we do our sometimes we do our ordinances a little bit different. Some municipalities will do a first reading at one meeting and then maybe a second reading in another meeting. what we do a little bit different is kind of a time saver. A lot of times we will do the first reading, and then we will agree that it's been read, and then we will move on that reading. So it's a 3-step process. If it fails in the second process, which it just did, it can come back at a later time for a majority vote. So that's what you just witnessed there. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. When it comes up for a first reading, in order for it to pass, it has to be, the second stage has to be unanimous, just for everybody's sake. We do have one item left on the regular agenda, so if someone would be so kind.
Make a
Make a
motion that
motion
ordinance
that ordinance-
2024-26 be considered read.
Yes.
A motion second, all in favor? Aye. Yes, sir.
Make a motion we suspend all rules that prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2024-26.
We have a second?
Second.
Motion seconded by Councilwoman Cuellar. Roll call, Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Make a motion that ordinance 2024-26 be approved and adopted.
Second.
Motion seconded by Councilwoman Cuellar. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Motion passes. That is our last item of business for this evening. Thank you very much. I hope that you're have a fantastic Christmas. Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much for your time.